Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome back. We're gonna do some more Daggerfall Unity mods, and then we'll do some playthrough to take a look at what we have installed. So let's go ahead and jump right in to our mods. So I did the Adamantine Tower, which puts in the Eye of Balfiera. It puts the Adamantine Tower there instead of traditional dungeons. So you have the big spire like in Oblivion. We already went through ambient text. It's just displays text whenever you hover over something. Aquatic sprites, we did that. Basic magic regen. Archaeologist guild, I added. It's another guild that basically as you doing dungeon crawls, delivering text, looking at books, stuff like that. We did basic roads already. Birds and Daggerfall, I added this, but I have not actually seen it while playing, so I don't know if it still works or not. Climate travel map, I can actually disable that because with the Dream 90s, added the Dream 90s texture pack and remodel, and with that, the climate travel map doesn't even work, so you just disable it. Desert architecture, interior lighting, darker dungeons. Darker dungeons is enabled. This allows darkness in dungeons. I have a torches mod installed, which allows basically if you turn your torch off in a dungeon, it'll be black, totally black dark, and that way you have to have a light to play since now we have you have lanterns, you have torches. I have a mod that from a YouTube user called Red Rory of the Glen, and he did a torches mod, which is pretty good. You can, if you have them, your shield and sword, you can have a torch, so it'll drop the torch on the floor, and you can combat around it and pick the torch back up. So it's pretty cool. Windmills of Daggerfall is enabled. I haven't seen a windmill yet, but it is there. Dream 90s backgrounds. Basically, it's more of a kind of a more toned down version of the Dream mod that basically adds HD textures and everything. So it does a lot of graphical upgrades while still kind of retaining the old pixelated look somewhat. The bestiary, which is pretty good because it actually been playing with it and it actually keeps track of what you killed. So all your monsters, it keeps track of how many you killed, which is pretty cool. The cinematics for Dream, which is the beginning, and all of the full motion videos and the cartoons that play whenever you like shapeshift into a werewolf, summon Daedra, stuff like that. Better ambience and dynamic music. Those are pretty good mods. I did a couple of extra mods added on top of them with more music choices. So we have combat music, we have extra music that wasn't in the Daggerfall Unity vanilla version, and more orchestral sounding music and not the MIDI files that come with the vanilla game. So it's pretty good. Dream 90s commoners, texture flats, handheld texture flats, role playing realism. It's just gameplay settings that allow a bunch of different, you know, basically like making it more realistic, such as like ship ports, which means you have to actually be in a port town in order to use a ship. You can get bandages. There's effects from over encumbrance. Archery, you actually have to pull back on the bow and aim and all that stuff. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff that helps like make it even more realistic. Travel options. This adds the manual travel. So if you camp out instead of using inns to fast travel, it'll actually do the manual travel where you could do like 15 times speed. And it'll your real time travel, walking from town to town instead of fast traveling. And one thing I noticed with this mod that you have to be really careful with is you have to save very often because you will end up at some point falling through the floor. And if you haven't saved, you don't have teleportation active where you could teleport back to somewhere, you're pretty much screwed. I haven't tried fast travel while falling through the floor yet. Maybe that'll work. Um, could actually test that out. See if if you fall through the environment and you're just falling and falling, You bring up the map, see if you can fast travel, get out of that. But for everyone I've done so far, I've actually just reloaded a previous save, so I haven't even tried fast traveling yet to get out of that, falling through the floor. Dream 90's HUD and menu, just graphical upgrades, Bloodfall adds blood, mob textures, mod compatibility patch with other mods, the clock on the HUD, updated music, World of Daggerfall biomes. What is this at? Diversifies biomes across Celiac Bay. I'm not sure if that's graphical. Might be. NPCs. Those are flats, texture flats. Handheld torches. This is the mod right here by Red Royo the Glen. Pretty great mod. Um, so if you hit tab, it'll drop your torch on the ground, and then you just click it to pick it up. But if you have a lantern, and you don't have to worry about that because your lantern is kind of like Dark Souls, where it's on your, I guess it's on your hip, where you turn your lantern on, so you can have like a Daikatana two-handed, and you can have your lantern on, so you don't have to worry about carrying a torch around. But let's say you do have a two-handed, like a claymore or something like that equipped, and you can have a torch with that two-hander, but as soon as you attack with that two-hander, you'll drop the torch. So that's pretty cool, way to use torches in the game. Paper dolls, portraits, those are texture upgrades, dynamic skies. So got the skybox updated, detailed city walls, Dream 90 sound, HUD torch indicator. This just shows a little icon on the HUD if you're using a torch, especially for the lantern. World of Daggerfall terrain. Oh, this is the one that adds the. It got rid of the mountains and hills, and this adds like actual rocks and mountain rocks and stuff like that, uh, and a couple other little environmental tweaks that make the world look kind of more modern instead of flat or the sloping hills of the old school mountains and hills. It was more sloping hills, big sloping hills. This one has like just straight up mountains in the way if you're traveling through. World of Daggerfall. Oh, this is the one that adds like forts outside and like forts, watchtowers. There'll be some caves with NPCs like bandits. Dream 90's textures. Those are your basically your world textures. Diverse weapons that upgrades the look for the weapons. So not everything is exactly the same. Your weapons will look different. Currently, I got a drop from a bandit, which was an ebony daikatana, which is pretty awesome. I just got that this morning. Dungeon exteriors makes the dungeon exteriors actually look like with the flavor text says they're gonna look like. They say go to this manor. It's actually a house. That instead of just a little cave texture that came, or a little cave structure that came with the original Daggerfall hotkey bar. Absolutely required if you want a more modern experience. You can use 1 through 9 in order to map your weapons and spells. So I have my stuff mapped to where I can heal, then immediately pop something else off instead of having to dip into the spell book every single time or go into the inventory. Persistent dungeons. This is a great mod. It hasn't been updated in a while, but I haven't had any problems with it. It basically, if you go into a dungeon and you clear everything out, and you exit the dungeon when you go back in, it's still cleared out. So, for example, like the Adamantine Tower, normally you would have to clear it out every single time you went in or set a teleport. But if you have this installed, every time you go to the Adamantine Tower, it's already cleared out. Especially with the Lich, which when you're in the lower levels, the Lich is absolutely destruction-inducing. Hand-painted models, buildings. Just adds some models to the buildings. Bunch of static models that sit on the ground and stuff like that. Real grass adds grass. 2D grass flats. Uh, Sort of like Oblivion and Skyrim have. Retro frame. I don't know, what is this? Frame HUD with hotkeys and then Retro 4.3. Oh, this one right here is actually like a EverQuest frame box. I have it enabled, but it doesn't actually take effect. I think it's because of all the other mods I have installed. But if you go to Red Rory of the Glens channel, he has one that's showcasing the Torches mod, and it actually shows retro frame, and it's a like a traditional CRT monitor, and it kind of looks like EverQuest Classic if you ever played that. I will be doing videos on Project 1999 and EverQuest Classic getting started soon. But that basically is like a frame with like you have instead of the inventory at the bottom of the traditional Daggerfall where you have your little icon textures at the bottom. If you're in the non full screen mode, this one will have it on the left and right side, and it takes up most of the screen, but it looks more like a Ultima Underworld type of deal with your inventory and all your stats and stuff. Lively Cities just adds more NPCs. It adds a town square in the main square where most of the merchants are, and the inns, hand painted models. It's great. Shield widget. You get a shield text, shield. Uh, what is it? Shield pixel shield. You got your sword and your shield to show up. Looks pretty cool. Hand painted models, treasure piles. That just adds like if you got loot on the ground, it's not a 2D flat all the time. Sometimes it's like a treasure box or something like that. Quest actions extension. It's like an extension mod for other quests that come up. Quest pack 1, just more additional quests. Small horse black adds a black horse that's smaller. If you do look down though, you will see the bottom half of the regular horse texture, which is kind of weird. And some of my previous videos, you may have noticed that. NPC health indicators, it just puts the health on top of the NPC so you know how much health they have. Loading screen, it just adds a loading screen whenever you're loading into the game. More animations for people sprites and villager sprites. Uncanny UI creates a much better UI that's transparent and has a lot more uh, boxes for your items and stuff like that. Vanilla enhance, villains and monsters, better sprites. So you could probably disable this since all the other ones are enabled. Simple 3D trees adds 3D trees to I want to say Wayrest and Daggerfall regions. If you go to Sentinel, everything is still 2D. The tree flats and the cactus and all that stuff. But in like Daggerfall and Wayrest, it's in 3D. Transparent windows. That's when you're inside of a store or an inn. You can actually see out the window and see the environment outside. It's like really cool. Viewable skill progress. It shows you how much more you have to your next skill up. So it'll say, if you have a long blade, it'll show how many more times you have to use long blade in order to skill up to the next skill level. Wilhelm Crosshair. That just adds the classic Daggerfall Crosshair back to give it a more retro look. Wilderness Overhaul. That adds it kind of diversifies the procedurally generated environment. So you create it's not just tree like in the classic Daggerfall where everything is exactly the same. There'll be some diversity where you'll have like open areas and more dense forests, stuff like that. So it looks more hand tailored, even though it's procedurally generated. It does look more hand tailored than the traditional procedurally generated way that the wilderness is done. And world tooltips, which is, let's see. Oh yeah, so if you're going into a building and you hover over the door, it'll show you what the building name is. Uh, the items, if you hover over that, it'll show you. If you go up to an NPC and you hover over them, it'll show their name, so you don't have to click on their name to figure out who they are. Or use the the F3 to let you go into info mode and tell you info about everything. So that's pretty cool. So we got into everything there, and just to go through advanced here, just want to show that I do have. Where is it at? Dungeon wagon access prompt. That's not it. Crosshair. Enhancements. Climbing system. Enemy infighting. Well, I don't know where it is, but it's basically it's smaller dungeons. Here it is, right here. So smaller dungeons just makes the dungeons smaller. If you don't want a dungeon crawl through a massive dungeon, unless you want to do the hand-tailored dungeons, like the handcrafted ones that are part of the quest. Those I don't mind being big, but whenever I'm doing guild quests or any type of, you know, the secondary quests, I don't want it to be a massive dungeon. Prefer to have a smaller one, but that's just my preference. So we'll go ahead and go into the game. And let it load up. And we will load and quick save, and I believe I'm on the Climate Travel map. I disabled, that's fine. I believe I'm on the King of Worms quest where the Queen Baranzaya's daughter, can't remember her name, she gives you instructions to go to the King of Worms for this is the first quest for the Emperor's letter that he wants you to find. So that is the quest I believe I'm on right now. And here, obviously, for the loading screen in the background, I did the classic Daggerfall promotional art background screens instead of just the Skyrim look at the foreground here. This is more like Skyrim. And as I put in the last video I did, you want to save often, save quick, save often. F9 is save, and you want to do that because you never know whenever you're going to bug out. I've had it crash a couple. I've had Daggerfall Unity with all these mods crash about 3 or 4 times, and it sucks if you haven't saved in a while. Alright, so just looking at equipment. So just look at my character, I'm level 9 now. Here's the Ebony Daikatana, Mithril Boots, and I believe these are, I think these are adamantine leggings. Everything else is standard stuff you can get in the beginning. I did cure myself of lycanthropy. I was a werewolf for a while. Cleared out the adamantine tower as a werewolf. What the hell? Was that supposed to happen? Okay. I can't remember if that's like a thing that's supposed to happen. But anyway, I'll show you. If I turn off the torch, it's black. Can't see anything. And if I want to use a regular torch, here it is right here. If I swing my weapon, torch drops to the ground. Go ahead and pick it up, just like that. Go back to lantern. And what just happened to me? Something popped off. Alright, let's take all this stuff. And I'm going to just do this. Okay, oh, alright, good. Valueless bomb. Is this a trap? Levitate. Okay. Is this part of vanilla? I can't remember. That literally looked like a death trap, but am I losing my mind? Okay. Now close the door. Interact. Go back. Door. Come on, door. Yeah. There we go. Okay, thank you. Get out of there. Is there anything else here? It was just that room. I don't see any hidden doors. Kind of confused here. So I went through the other one, pop that again. So I went through this one. I believe this is the one you gotta go through to get to King of Worms, but I went through like a whole bunch of the dungeon, and that's not what I wanted. I didn't find anything. Let me rest for a minute. Okay, let's see. So there's this room with a whole bunch of branch offs in it. Let's see if I could find. See, I've gone through everything already. I haven't taken this route yet. The hell is the King of Worms at? I remember it being so easy the first time I played this. Like I went straight to King of Worms. Or Manny Marco. Vampires. I've been in here already. Just pops to this. Confused. Probably have to look up a guide to get to Manny Marco. Killed everything in here already. Let's see. There's a cave system. Guess I could check that out. Where's that at? That's here. Let's see if anything useful comes from that. There's a bear. Stealth kill. Alright, like that. Alright. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, new room. Stealth in. And what do we have here? No, skeleton. Alright. What's this? Oh my god. Okay. Was not expecting that. Cave system. Couldn't see anything over the edge. Alright. Elven longbow. So. Okay, I sense an unholy energy. Heal up a bit. Come on now. Alright. Go ahead and cross over. Get ready. Fight something. Just looks like a boxed room here. Is there up something on top? So that's just a big cave. Nothing on top. Oh no, not the scorpion. Okay, paralyzed, free action. Let's go ahead and heal. Okay, wear off levitation. Got him. Alright, scorpion's dead. Door. Whoa, vampire, not good. Don't need to get vampirism. Don't want to deal with bloodlines. Okay, come on. Oh, I just got killed. Alright, well I guess that'll do it for this video. I'll go ahead and do the... I may put up a video just doing the playthrough to get to Manny Marco. Or may look for some more mods and features and add those. And also I'll be starting a Project 1999 EverQuest video to go over the basics of Project 1999 and playing classic EverQuest from 1999 to 2000. Which I started playing in 2020 for real on the Project 1999 green server. And yeah, I had a great time playing, got myself up to like level 46, but then stopped with the magician. But I'll probably go ahead and do a video just how to get started, because there's no explanation whatsoever on how to get started. But once you get into a starting town that you know how to play real well, like I do Kinos, that's the one I do. Pretty good at getting started in there. I'll just show what to do. But yeah, that's about it for this video, so I will see you guys